All right, welcome in. It is time for a new week of Total Bases. I need the new week. I didn't have a great week last week, especially the weekend. It was not, my weekend was fine. I got to go to a couple baseball games, so that was good. My weekend with results, not as good. So we're here to turn it around today. I got to see the Rays play baseball this weekend. Bryan Leonard was up in Canada. So first of all, welcome back, Bryan. He's back on the show. He was out in Canada with some of the WagerTalk crew this weekend at the Blue Jays Guardians game. Looked like a great time. And we've got the Rays playing the Guardians here on national TV. So I'm going to start with you, Bryan. How was your weekend up in Canada with the boys? And start us off with Rays Guardians.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun up there. Carmine put a lot of it together. He went out of his way. If you ever met Carmine, nicest guy, very generous. He set us up with a hotel and everything, drove us around. I owe him big time. Had a lot of fun, even sat next to Prez and were able to have a conversation, and it was a lot of fun. So unfortunately, when I went to the game, it didn't have as much fun for the Cleveland fans. But yeah, it had a really nice time, and good to be back here in Vegas and get back into it. Somewhat like you, I was running a 10-0 run, and then now I'm at 12-4. So had a really good week, but the end of the week wasn't as good. But let's get back today's games and get some more winners here for you. Cleveland's playing today, and it's a smaller card on Monday here, which is a little bit of a break from what we have had lately. We got Steven Matz going for Tampa, a guy who has bounced between starter and long reliever for a while, but he's put up some good numbers. He's a lefty, and going against Parker Messick, who is a lefty. And we talked about him after throwing close to the no-hitter, how I didn't want to back him the next game. And he was okay. He wasn't as dominant as he was in the past, but you could definitely see that. So I think we'll get better pitching matchups out of both of them here today. First game back in Cleveland after transferring back from Colorado or from Canada. And these two coaches know each other very well. So this will be a well-coached game, something that you always seem to get when you have a Cleveland and Tampa situation. Two lefties going, as I mentioned. The line on Cleveland's about 135 right now, with a total of 7.5 to the over. If I'm playing, I'm probably playing the under in this game. I prefer that a little bit better. Matz is a guy that could give Cleveland some troubles. And Messick, now that he had, to be honest with you, he pitched a little bit longer than what I thought last time out. I hope that doesn't have an effect on him. I figured they'd pull him after 70 pitches or whatever, but I think he went to 80. But still, he's being stretched out, and I like him against the Tampa Bay batters. So maybe the under, something to that effect, but I'd like to play Cleveland. If I can get it down to 130, I think that's my buy spot for Cleveland. So hopefully some of you out there like Tampa, and I can get my number. But right now, it's probably a game I'm going to be passing at this point.
Let's get Tokyo Brandon in here. One thing we did do in your absence, Bryan, was we kind of ran it up on the parlay. TB and I hit a couple two-teamers the last couple days on the show, where we're up in that section so far this season. So we cleaned that up. But TB, that was my issue of the weekend. I was giving out the winners on the show, and then the client plays were losing. It's just one of those things that we always have to deal with. So how was your weekend? And talk to me about Rays Guardians.
It happens. I ran the board on KBO and then ran the board on MLB. So I'm on a 5-0 run right now. So feeling pretty good about that. Got 3 MLB plays out today, and this Guardians game is one of them. I'm 100% in agreement with Bryan. Messick is just throwing dominating stuff. Looking at both of these lineups, neither one is really striking the fear of God into anyone. They're both kind of mediocre. I got them ranked 15 each, tied for the epitome of mediocrity. And Messick, you can't go against him. He's pitching great. And I also like the fact that Cleveland is coming back home with no rest from another country. So just like Bryan. So they should be, I don't think Bryan will be in a flat spot, but I think the Guardians will be in a flat spot. So yeah, I think under would be good here. The first 5 under is 4. So it's kind of lower than I'd like. If you could get a 4.5, that would be great. But yeah, I think under 4 would be good. I gave this out on my free play video that I made for WagerTalk's YouTube channel. It'll probably be published by the time this show's over. So yeah, that's how I would go.
I do want to point out that if you do want the 4.5s, the DraftKings, the FanDuels, the Fanatics, the Scores, those kind of places will have the 4.5. They hate to give the money back on a game that pushes. So you're going to lay about 130 to 140 or 135 to 140 in that range, as opposed to getting them at pretty much even money if you're looking at the 4.
I hate to do it, but I kind of like the under as well. Last time we all came on and made a case for an under, there was I think 20 plus runs in the game when it was all said and done.
We got crushed.
Yeah, it was a legitimately like an 11-10 or a 10-9 game. That's why I joke about it. But like the flat spot sort of idea definitely plays in my opinion. But maybe for both teams though. You know, the Rays swept the Twins over the weekend, and it was like, man, the Rays they're exactly the team I expected them to be. They don't look impressive at all on paper. And yet here we are almost a month into the season, and they're 16 to 11. That game I was at on Saturday was a total snooze fest. It was just like, it kind of just went on, and teams squandered opportunities. And then it was like the Rays, hit a 2-run homer. Suddenly, like at the end, they tacked on, they were up 6-0. Like nothing about what the Rays do is like visually appealing. I feel like when you watch this team play, but they play decent defense. Like they're good enough. Like TV, you kind of say this, they're not bad at anything, right? Like sometimes you look at your metrics and you say, okay, well, this team, they might not do anything so great where you're like, oh, the Rays are this, but they're pretty strong across the board. They have good at bats. Bryan has brought that up a number of times. They don't get cheated at the plate. They can steal a bag here and there. Defense is good enough, and the pitching is decent. And so then they come in, and you're not, when you go through the list of the laundry list like that, if you will, you're not that surprised that they're sitting there at 16 and 11. What was a little surprising to me was that they swept the Twins, and now they've got 4 straight wins. So if I'm looking at the series, it's like, okay, now you're heading to Cleveland. I do think that could be a little bit of a letdown. But then, like you said, you have the Guardians coming back home, get the win on Friday, big, quick lead out 5-0, and then sort of fizzle out the rest of the weekend. I don't really know what to think about that. The number on the side for me was right in line. I kind of made this like minus 132 or something, and before we got on the show, it was minus 135. Bryan, I'm with you. I wonder if this is the bad Messick start, right? Because, of course, we had the spot circled, but then it came up in what was such a good spot to play the Guardians that it was, and they did let him go a little longer than I expected. But even if they dip into the bullpen early, I don't think it's like the worst case scenario for the Guardians. So I think I'm with you guys. Terrifying that I also like under. We'll see. I don't know.
Terrifying.
Do what you will with that.
I will point out that this game is supposed to start a little early. It's got 6:10 Eastern, I believe. That's another thing that throws them off like an hour of what they normally play at.
Mm.
Yep, that's why we have this one in the top slot. This is national TV tonight, Fox Sports 1, and for that reason, they've got it at 6 o'clock. So yeah, earlier start time. Just feels like a 4-2 type game to me.
It does. The Rays have been hitting actually kind of pretty well lately. And so I was kind of surprised that my rankings have them ranked 15 because actually the Rays have been putting runs up, but I hope they don't today.
And I think it's, go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I will say the only guy in the Cleveland offense that's hitting in the top 100 right now is their number 9 hitter. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But Caminero, Aranda, and Diaz are all hot for Tampa Bay. But I think Messick can handle them.
Yeah, and it's like the thing with the Rays that's like, this weekend, their 4-game win streak has gone 6-1, 6-2, 6-1, 4-2. And in almost every one of those games, they kind of tacked on late. Like every one of those games was like a tight game that they kind of like then tacked on. So like in my opinion, it's been the pitching more than anything for Tampa. Yeah, I'm just not really worried about either offense here. So I'm again, cue up the 15-run game. I don't know how else to, it just under makes too much sense. That's all I guess we'll leave it at that.
If this game is like 10-7 or something, I'm gonna be really, really ticked off.
All right, let's move on. Like Brian said, there's a smaller card today, so we may get to a lot of these. I know one that Brian, I'll go back to you here because this is the other team you just got to see play. But the point I wanted to make, shout out to Dave Koken, rest in peace, the GOAT, legend, and reason I bring him up is because the Red Sox yesterday would have been like a max play for him. He always used to hate the 5% plays. You'd have to twist his arm to get a 5%er out of him. He didn't like to do it because felt like people overbet the 5%. But one of his favorite angles was a coach getting fired from a team that was way underachieving and then just playing it out until it lost. And the Red Sox may have had one of the craziest, not only was the coach fired, it was like a mass firing on Saturday after a 17-1 win. And they did win yesterday in that spot. Coach gets fired. Half the staff got fired. Probably 5 coaches, 6 in total. Mm-hmm. Brian's nodding. So I got to go to you first again, Brian, because you just got to see the Jays play this weekend. Kind of surprised that they were able to take 2 of 3 from the Guardians, kind of the way that they've been playing. And now they get the Red Sox that fired their coach and has a little bit of momentum because they won on Saturday and they ended up winning yesterday. So will you go the Dave Koken route with the Red Sox and ride them until they lose?
Well, if you're looking to play Toronto right now, their hottest hitter is Vladimir Guerrero. He's 37th in the last 7 days. So you got your best hitter is hot. That's always a good thing if you're looking to play Toronto. But take a look at that bullpen. Louis Varland's the new savior in Toronto. He's pitched the last 2 days to get the saves, but he threw a total of 50 pitches, so he won't be pitching tonight. Tyler Rogers, he's got that rubber arm. He's pitched each of the last 2 days. He may be able to play, but still, this will be his 3rd game straight. Jeff Hoffman, who wishes he was Trevor Hoffman, he'd still have the job if he was. But he threw 24 pitches yesterday, and Fisher's pitched 2 out of the last 3 days. So the key arms in the bullpen for Toronto may not be available here. And the Red Sox, we've said it all along, they've had a lot more talent than what they were showing earlier. They did get Roman Anthony back. He was injured 4 games prior. He was at the DH yesterday. And if you'll take a look at the Red Sox lineup, they do have 4 guys hitting in the top 100 right now and 2 other guys right on the fringe, 3 other guys right on the fringe. So I would expect a good offensive game here for Boston. And from a bullpen perspective, Chapman hadn't pitched in the last 5 days, only threw 7 pitches. Whitlock the same, 19 pitches. So they're in a lot better spot from the bullpen here. From a line perspective, we're getting Suarez the lefty and Cease the righty. Cease is 135 favorite, total is 7. My first look at this was thinking that maybe Cease was a little cheap. But then when you take a look at the bullpen situations and as well as Boston is hitting, Suarez is very inconsistent so far. But Toronto against lefties so far this season, Toronto is a 102 WRC plus as opposed to 94. So it really hasn't made a difference who it was, but they've been underperforming hitting all season long. Yeah, to get Boston in this price range isn't bad. At least for the full game. First half could be more even, but as the game goes deeper, I prefer the Boston bullpen much better than the Toronto bullpen in this one.
Tokyo Brandon, just to, for people that weren't around watching WagerTalk programming maybe 5 years ago when Dave was last on shows, he wouldn't even have handicapped the game. Like, it was just, he was going to play it blindly until it lost. And I remember the best one he ever had was when the Phillies fired, maybe it was Girardi, and I think they won like 10 straight. And then the Angels, when they fired their manager, he had another crazy win streak. So he has a little bit of like, it was like, I'm going to play this. I don't care who the other pitcher is. I'm not going to like let my handicap creep into it. I'm going to play it until it loses. And so, like, again, Red Sox here, if you focus and you get the noise out of it, they're an underdog, pretty appealing price. Dylan Cease on the mound, but again, it's the Blue Jays bullpen's been an issue. So do you like the Red Sox here?
Yeah, Dave did that in hockey too. And he won doing that too when hockey.
I didn't know
that. Yeah. He was something else, man. Learned a lot from him.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we were blessed to be able to spend some time with Dave before he passed. So right off the bat, my numbers say the Blue Jays here, but yeah, I mean, as soon as Boston cleaned house, they scored 13 runs or something that day, and then they scored an 8 or something. So they just started bombing away after their whole coaching staff got fired. And it's kind of funny that the Mets still have their coaching staff, because man, that team is abysmal.
They could be next. I'm saving that for tomorrow when they play. But they could be next. Yeah.
That team is horrible. But anyway, we'll probably get to that later. So let's talk about this. Numbers say take the Blue Jays, but there's no way I'm taking the Blue Jays here, because if you look at the numbers, man, Ranger Suarez has been a little off this season, but his numbers against these batters are unreal. Small sample size, 27 at-bats against, 148 average and a 355 OPS. You cannot be better than that. And Dylan Cease's numbers against these batters are average to below average. So the straight on paper numbers say Toronto's a better team, but if you dig a little deeper, it screams Boston. But rather than taking them on a side, I think taking a Boston team total over would probably be the best way to go. I haven't done it, but I know that the books are going to slight Boston's bats today because Cease is pitching, but his numbers are not very good against this lineup. So be careful. I think Boston certainly can score 4 runs in this game, and their team total is probably 3.5 if Cease is on the mound. I didn't check it, but I'm 99% sure it's 3.5. So I would take over 3.5 there.
I think that's the only thing that's keeping me off this game. The fact that I didn't play the Red Sox yesterday. I think had I played the Red Sox yesterday, I'd be just going with a Coke and special and playing them until they lost, or until the prices ran out. But having not played them yesterday, here's the thing. For me, Dylan Cease is not a guy I really want to fade. I think he is that good. I think he's AL Cy Young caliber pitcher. Like, I think he could have that kind of a season. But I'm not going to put you off the Red Sox because of what Brian said about the bullpen. They could absolutely, if they can just weather the storm in this one and get to the later part of the game. And listen, Ranger Suarez, wasn't great against the Yankees, but the starts prior to that, 8 shutout against the Tigers, 6 shutout against the Cardinals. He can certainly go frame for frame with Cease. And then I do think there's a pretty big bullpen edge there. And I do think the Red Sox are turning it around. Tokyo Brandon, you and I had a great conversation on Saturday about Garrett Crochet making a couple of tweaks. He did that. He looked great. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see a snowball effect here. Crochet does it. Then maybe the bats get going, as you said, 17 runs on Saturday, finally have a little bit of a breakout. You look at that lineup, you see guys like Trevor Story hitting like a $198. It does feel like it's going to start to swing for the Sox. So that is my lean right there, and may even be my parlay leg. I want to see how the rest of the show goes, but it might be my parlay leg. All right, let's go to this one. Like 3 or 4 people in the chat want to talk Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, I like to talk Pittsburgh Pirates. I've
Until this season, nobody wanted to talk about the Pirates.
One thing I've gotten right, TV, I'm going to come back to you because, one thing I've gotten right so far this year is like this Pirates team. I don't know if I want to say they're for real just yet. Like, I think they are. But, like, they've proven me right to this point. They're 16-12. If you've watched them play baseball the first month of the season, they hit. They've been top 10 WRC plus. The pitching staff is very strong. They have relievers. They have starters. It is they are playing good baseball, in my opinion. And it's not a fluke that they're 16-12. But the odds makers are starting to notice. So talk to me about Pirates Cardinals. Do you like them here? But also, is there any value in the Pirates anymore?
So let's see what we got for a number. It's like 136. That's not bad. But I mean, up to this season, I can't remember the Pirates ever being a 136 favorite on the road, but they are today. They're at home. Sorry. My mistake. So we got Derek May, Mason Montgomery. To me, Mason Montgomery is still a little bit of an X factor, so I'm probably not going to bet it, but I'll share my numbers with you real quick, and then we'll kick it to Brian because he'll probably have more informative information for you than I do. But the Pirates are batting better than the Cardinals, and the just barely though. But the Pirates bullpen much better than the Cardinals. So if you have faith in Montgomery, Dustin May has a 400 plus average against and a 1,100 OPS against these batters. Small sample size. It's only 22 at bats against. So take that with a bit of a grain of salt. But if you have faith in Montgomery, I think the Pirates would be the only way to go. But I'll let you guys talk about it because you'll probably be more informative than me.
Bryan Leonard, this is a true bullpen game for the Pirates. It's not an opener. So they are going bullpen game today. It's Mason Montgomery. Wilbur Dotel recently called up. He's someone that they're high on in the organization. He's going to get a couple innings, but true bullpen game. I don't know if I've seen. Is this the first one this year that's like really just going to be a bullpen game? And what do you have to say about that?
I believe. Hold on. Let me get the correct information here as I'm looking over this. Okay. It looks to be that from a Pittsburgh perspective, it was probably supposed to be Ashcraft, I'm guessing, that was going to start, but his wife is in labor, so
yes,
he's not with the team. So I think that was the original plan, was Montgomery pitches an inning and then he comes in for the bulk. But because he's not there and Pittsburgh is playing pretty well, they probably decided, well, right now they've only got 4 starters with him out, so they'll just make it a bullpen game. And for the most part, Santana, Soto, Matson, Montgomery, and Ramirez, are their top 5 guys in the bullpen. None of them pitched yesterday. Now, they all pitched 2 days ago, so I would expect we're probably going to get 1 to 2 innings out of all of them, and hopefully it'll work out that way for them. Justin Lawrence, Sisk, and Sanders all pitched yesterday, but they hadn't pitched before that. So the Sisk and Sanders both threw a lot of pitches yesterday, so they probably won't be in. But we may see Justin Lawrence. And you mentioned Dotel. He threw 33 pitches last Tuesday, hasn't pitched since, so he will be the long reliever. He will come in after Montgomery, and they'll go from there. But I think they should be able to do a pretty good job here against the St. Louis team that right now, if you're taking a look at what St. Louis has done lately, the hitting has obviously gone down a little bit. Just all season long, Jordan Walker has been knocking the hell out of the ball. He made those changes in a drive line at the end of the season. But now, for the last 7 days, he's 331st in hitting. So he is not. He's definitely cooled off. Nation Church has actually started playing really well. He's 6th. He's been hot the last few days. He's a guy that has a lot of talent. I'd really see him have a good season because he would benefit this offense tremendously. But yeah, for myself in this game, when you take a look at the Pirates offense, 98 WRC plus on the season. St. Louis is 101, but they've been going down. So it's a pretty even matchup from that point. But Dustin May has actually been really good. He's like a top 35 pitcher his last two starts. If he can come out with that, it'll be a low-scoring game, and that would be the way to do it. But I still don't trust Dustin May. So tough handicap because you don't really know how long these guys are going to go, but you got a good idea of who will be pitching for Pittsburgh. So slight lean with Pittsburgh, but I can't lay that number, in the current 135, 125 to 135 range. If it was 115, maybe, but yeah, not something I'm really interested in today.
Yeah, I'm going to point back to the market has caught up. I think there's value on the Cardinals, so I'll just speak on Wilbur Dotel for a minute. The organization is high on him. He's one of those guys that's like got a lot of upside. But I think that's all there's been to this point is upside. Like he's capable of being awesome. He's from, I think came from Dominican Republic. It's one of those like undrafted like guys that they signed right out of Dominican that has just oozing with potential, but he doesn't really have great command yet. He's walked a lot of batters, hasn't had a good start to the year at AAA. He's been quite inconsistent to this point. So if he's your bulk, see, that's the thing, Brian, like they would love him to be the bulk guy today. Mm-hmm. But like, if he gets into one of these innings where he walks 2 or 3 batters, I don't know if he can be your bulk guy. It almost feels like they'd have to go to the pen. So I think there's definite value on the Cardinals here. I don't know if the Pirates, if at this price, like you're basically asking them to piece together the game with 5 or 6 pitchers, but you're going to be laying minus 135 to do so. I think the value's with the Cards. That is.
Let me just add a quick comment to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Pirates are on my poo list because they're coming back home with no rest. So just it's not something to base your cap on, but if you're leaning one way, and this is something just to fortify that. So yeah, Pirates might be dangerous to back the Pirates today.
Yeah, I mean, again, I love that team long term. This is not the spot and the price that I would want them in. So yeah, I lean toward the Cardinals on that one. All right, let's go to Chicago. A couple folks in the chat asking about this one. Someone brought up the Angels. Kind of a brutal loss yesterday. If you had the Angels, they gave up 3 in the 9th.
Yep.
To blow the game. They didn't blow it yet. They allow the game to be tied, and then of course after taking a lead in the 10th, they give up I think it ended on a 3-run homer. But yes, by Lane Thomas to get walked off in Kansas City and get swept. So Bryan Leonard, I'm coming back to you. I kind of said like the Angels, they're like they're one injury or one thing not working out. Maybe it was Klassen not really working out, having to get sent back down. One bad sort of break away from like a free fall. We might be in that free fall. They've lost 7 of 8. They got swept by the Royals. They got crushed on Saturday. Are we selling the Angels at this point, and how do you approach them in this game?
Yeah, if you go back to our early shows at the beginning of the season, we seemed, at least Trig and I, if I remember correctly, really liked the White Sox this year, thought there were going to be a lot of betting value, and we disliked the Angels. And, of course, the Angels come out and look terrific early on and make us look bad. Well, now's our chance to bet against the Angels. We're getting plus money here betting on the White Sox with Anthony Kay on the mound, a lefty. Koshanowicz is a guy I've been looking to bet against. For some reason, people like betting on him. I don't see it. If you take a look remember back when the days where the Angels were just knocking the hell out of the baseball, they were like 4th in Major League Baseball in WRC plus. They were in the 130s, 140s. Now they're down to 101 on the season, which puts them basically league average. So they were a team that peaked early And other than Trout, who's still hitting the ball well, the rest of them have struggled. Anthony Kay is he's a younger guy who 31 years of age, but a guy who hasn't pitched a lot in the Major League Baseball, and I like him. I think he's going to come out and do well for him. They've had some really good pitch. That's one of the reasons why the White Sox have done well right now. Noah Schultz and Davis Martin. Davis Martin's turning into the ace of this team, and whoever saw that, he was like a fringe 5-6 coming into the season. So, yeah, I think there's definite value here on the Angels. And I'm not a big lover of the Angels bullpen, but Sir Anthony Dominguez pitched 3 of the last 4 days. He may not pitch today, and that might be a good thing because we may get Grant Taylor pitching a little bit more because if you remember, he's been used as the opener a few times. He threw 26 pitches in that regard on Thursday. So he may be able to get out there and give you some more innings. And there's some other guys that I like. Brian Hudson, I always liked when he was with Milwaukee. So it's a guy that I think can help them. So I like the White Sox here. And when you're looking at the hitters right now, ranked in the top 100 over the last 7 days, Murakami, the guy has just been on a fire for his home runs. He's been terrific. Miguel Vargas has been great. Colson Montgomery's on a big home run streak. Antonetti, Antonacci, who they brought up, is finally, they're giving him some regular playing time out in left field. He's hitting well. So I like the way this team is playing right now. The Angels, not so much. And like I said, from a hitting standpoint, Trout's 71st, but they've got a lot of guys in the 200s-300s, and that's not how you win, especially as a road favorite here. And plus, if you take a look at their bullpen yesterday, Bachman had to throw 23 pitches. Pomeranz came in second game in 3 days. Suter, 29 pitches, 20 for Zephyr John, who pitched 2 out of 3 days, 22 from Joey Lucchesi, they brought back from the minors. They had to bring Fermin and Lucchesi up because they don't have any arms in the bullpen. They still don't have any arms in the bullpen. I like the White Sox here. This is going to be my part of the parlay. And it seems we're at that time of the show where we do talk about that. So that'll be mine. I like the White Sox here. You could get them at plus 103 just about everywhere.
Tokyo Brandon, I've got an interesting angle. I'll get your take on this. There's very likely going to be some weather in this game. Wind looks like it might be a factor. Rain looks like it might be a factor. Do you like a team that's going to go opener and maybe bulk better when there's weather? Because again, you're not really risking your starter. If the weather's going, you can just use a reliever and you don't like lose your starter. Is that something you ever kind of factored into your handicap?
Not really, because I tend to just avoid bad weather games.
Okay.
But
fair enough. That's fair.
Yeah. Because it's just frustrating for me. I don't factor that into the handicap. K is a guy, he's kind of a Trevor Bauer protege because he spent 2 years with him and basically was under his tutelage the whole time. But yeah, he not really pitching as well as I thought he would. Cachano, he's on my chronic walker list because last year he was walking so many guys. So if you can get a over 1.5 walks for him prop, it's probably 2.5 though. But if you can get 1.5, he'll generally walk 2 guys every time he's out there. But yeah, the Angels are reeling a little bit right now, especially their lineup. I've got their lineup ranked 21st out of 30, and they lost Ohopi. I don't know how he says his name. Ohapi, yeah. They lost him. He's one of my favorite catchers, though. He's a grinder, man. That guy gives his all. I love watching that guy. He's a hustler, but he's out. So yeah, it's just a matter of time before Trout's out as well. So yeah, this team probably will be going down very shortly. You get swept by Kansas City, and right when we badmouthed Kansas City last week, boom, they get on a tear, right? They start scoring, and their bullpen starts shutting it down too. Unbelievable. But anyways, regarding this game, yeah, I would think maybe playing an under because Kachanowicz actually has really good numbers against these batters in a small sample size. But yeah, the Sox bats have been on fire, but I think he can tame them down today. I would go under, but a couple too many X factors for me in this one.
Well, TB, the weather certainly agrees with your under. I know we usually, weather usually becomes a topic at Wrigley Field. It looks like the wind could be blowing in at a considerable rate tonight at Rate Field, of course, where this game is. And I got to go back to my point. I think that's a huge advantage. If you're a team that's consistently going opener and you're willing to set the game up like that, and you have a game that could get called after the 6th or 7th inning, and you're basically starting the game with your best reliever, which it could be Grant Taylor. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going to set this game up, but Grant Taylor's been opening for Anthony Kay a lot of the year. So I wouldn't be at all surprised. If you're the White Sox, you're crazy to not use the opener here, knowing that the weather is gonna be a factor. And I think I think it's worth like 10 or 20 cents to the number. Like it's worth something. No question, it is worth something. So I'm with you, Brian. I like the White Sox a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only time it scares me away is if you've got clearly the better pitcher on the mound and you've got a big pitching advantage. And if there is rain involved, the wind's blowing from right to left, and it's not really slowing down the hitters or anything. It's blowing right to left, but it is going to be a windy day. And it's
all right, Tokyo Brandon.
So.
Tokyo Brandon, I'm going to go to you. I was going to use White Sox with parlay. Brian took it, which I'm fine with. So I've got another one, but I want to think about it for a second. So parlay leg to you. We are now plus 2.54 units on these. Big turnaround. We had a great week on the parlays last week. TB and I hit another one on Saturday, 2-teamer with the Yankees and I think the Rangers. So let's see if we can do it again. Who do you want to put in the parlay today?
So I'm going to cheat again, but cheating.
We can't. Wait, you sound like you're on the moon right now. We can't hear you. Like you're very far away.
Why is that?
There you go.
Still?
Might be a little bit better. There you
Oh,
go.
now you're back. There you go.
Okay. I wonder why. That's weird. Okay. So I'm going to cheat again, but cheating has won a couple of parlays for us. So let's cheat. I'm going to take Yamamoto against Miami in the first 5. So give me the Dodgers first 5. It's probably minus 300, but you know what? I don't care. Yamamoto's been great. The one thing that kind of worries me is Paddock actually has decent numbers against these batters, but let's see, what has he got? In 41 at-bats against, he's got a 567 OPS. That's pretty good, actually, but most of those might have been when he was with San Diego. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to hold up against these guys as much today. Give me the Dodgers in the first 5 innings on the money line. Yes, it's cheating. So what? If we win our parlay, that's all that matters. Yamamoto is Cy Young material. It concerns me a little that he pitches better on the road than at home, and he's at home here, but that's okay. I think he can handle this lineup. Miami is another team that started out really well, but it's kind of fizzling out right now. So yeah, give me the Dodgers first 5.
I mean, listen, that people are going to want to hear about this game anyway, so we'll finish talking about it. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're probably only a parlay thing, I wouldn't suggest laying $3 to bet the Dodgers, but for a parlay, it's fine. And, you know, the Dodgers, I think I made the point a couple times last week, Brian, and I'll send this to you, where they were like 13-4, and I didn't even think they came close to playing their best baseball yet. Like, over the weekend, I think we got a glimpse of the Dodgers, like, you know, what they look like when they're like engaged and playing their best. Those last 2 games, the last 2 nights against the Cubs, very, very impressive. That was a Cubs team that was as hot as can be. 12-4 on Saturday, come back 6-0 on Sunday. I guess I worry about them a little bit when they're like the big favorite, that they'd be a little disinterested, but it's hard to like knock just like how good this Dodgers team is. So what are you looking at in this one? Dodgers, Marlins, and again, I didn't have really anything actionable here, so I'll just go to you.
Yeah, this is like one of those games I just talked about where you're using Yamamoto and you got weather conditions. That would be one of the games that I would be concerned about it, but I don't think that's a problem here. If you don't want to lay the 320 with Yamamoto, you can also lay a half a run in the first half and get that for about 180. Or what a lot of Dodgers fans have been doing, a lot of bettors over the years have been betting the 1.5. Granted, you're only going to get 8 at-bats compared to 9 but you're only laying 110 if they win by multiple runs. So different ways to look at it. I'm with you. I wouldn't lay a $3, $3.20 favorite. But there's other ways around it if that's the way you want to look at it. And for myself, I can't find a way to play Miami with Paddock on the mound. Now they've got a lot of other guys that I like that I would have looked to play, but Paddock's not the one. He's the one that will last about one or two more starts, and then they will call up some of their better arms in the minors. And one of them almost threw a no-hitter the other day. So yeah, a lot going on in Miami for the future, but Paddock's not there.
Oh, I agree with that. I don't. Paddock's a little placeholder right now. Go ahead, TV.
No, you can make your point, Adam. I'll go after you.
I was just saying, like, you're probably not going to see me have money on Chris Paddock pretty much ever. So I can't argue with a Chris Paddock fade. TV, were you going to jump in and promote something, because I have not done that yet this show?
Yes,
a little tired here on Monday morning.
And also, I was going to give people, hey man, I love our chat. I love our audience. Brewfest, you are correct. I was just going to say that if you're dying to play the Dodgers, Yamamoto to get a win, you know he's going to finish 5 innings. You know it. And whether the Dodgers are winning when he leaves and hold the lead is the part that makes it better odds for you. So yeah, Yamamoto to win would be a way to play it. And also another way to play it would be Yamamoto to record over 18.5 outs, which means will he get 1 out in the 7th inning? Or 2 outs in the 7th inning. Sorry, that's big plus money. So 2 ways to play that. But yeah, double play. We're 3 of the best handicappers in the world. Definitely 3 of the best at WagerTalk. You can get 2 of us for 3 days, and it's a huge discount. So pick 2 of us, and it's a great double play. I have 3 plays out in MLB today, so it's a good deal. But yeah, those are ways you can play the Dodgers if you really want plus money or better odds than that.
All right, I'm going to go to a different game for the parlay, and we have a couple of minutes left, so I'll get your guys' thoughts on this. I'm going to use the Twins plus 1.5 in the parlay. It is plus 1.5. I think it's minus. Brian, what am I looking at? Like a minus 140 for that?
Let me take a look at that.
You're a glutton for punishment.
No, I kind of like it too. They're plus 1.5 at minus 140.
Yeah, and listen, I'm using the plus 1.5 for the parlay. If you want to bet this game straight, I think I can make just as good of a case for the Twins plus 120. I'm just choosing to take the half run in the parlay just to give ourselves a better chance to cash the parlay. Connor Prelip, I talked about him last week. He got called up. He pitched his major league debut was against the Mets in a game the Mets ended up, I believe, coming from behind and winning, or they scratched out a win. It was I think a 3-2 win. Prelip pitched pretty good. He went 4 innings. It was kind of always the plan. Was for him to probably go 4 maybe once through and see how it was going. 6 strikeouts, 0 walks. Very impressive. He's looked fantastic all year at St. Paul. Lefty with really good stuff. I think he's going to be a great starter for them. I think he has the upside of just sticking around in that rotation. But he was good in his debut, and now he comes back here. The other thing that happened that I said would happen happened. Kendrick Rojas piggybacked him, and he went 2 innings. And I think there will be a point where the Twins would love to have both of them as starters. But I don't think the Twins are as sure on Rojas right now. He, of course, is someone that came over in one of the million trades that they made. He was in the Blue Jays organization. And the Twins have started to push him toward being a reliever a little bit more. So I actually think you get the same thing that you got against the Mets, where it's going to be Prelip followed by Rojas, and they're going to see if they can get 6 to 7 innings out of that duo. Both lefties. Rojas gives you a slightly different look. It was tough on the Mets. It's going to be tough on the Mariners here. I think the Twins are live as an underdog. Listen, Luis Castillo has had some, these guys will know what they're getting with him. I feel like the whole league, especially the American League, has seen him plenty at this point. So I think the Twins have some value there. Brian, you said you kind of agreed. What else do you have to add?
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to find a way to play them. Didn't get around to it. The top 5 pitchers in the bullpen for Seattle have all pitched 2 of the last 3 days. That severely limits them here. Josh Naylor was extremely hot. He got hurt last game, so he might not play here. The only thing that probably keeps me away from him is Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez, the 2 best hitters for Seattle, are ranked 22 and 49 over the last 7 days. So they're really hot. Naylor was at 23. If he doesn't play, that'll hurt him. But you've got the middle of the Seattle offense, the better players, all hot right now. That's the only thing that kept me away from it. But yeah, I like the Twins in this one. I was looking to find a way to play it. Don't know if I will, but that's the only way I would play this one.
Tokyo, Brandon, real quick, we'll get your comment on this one because, the Twins, I was at the Twins game on Saturday, totally lethargic, complete no-show. They really did have a bad weekend. And Danzo says, the Mariners, they've only won 4 games on the road. 3 of those were this weekend. They might be turning it around. Yeah, I think the Mariners probably turn it around from what they've been to start the season. But I'm still looking at this game as just for this specific game, and I still see some edges at home for the Twins here. Just curious if you agree, disagree, and what. Yeah, I know you really are honed in on like what's happened the last few days. Do you agree or disagree with Danzo?
So a lot of conflicting information on this game. So I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pole, but I will say that betting the Twins right now is like getting kicked in the groin and saying, thank you, sir, may I have another? Because this team is so erratic. I don't know how, man, you guys, you better take your Prozac before you bet them and watch this game. I'm staying away from that team, but my numbers do say that the Twins are better at almost everything than Seattle. But on the other hand, Castillo has great numbers against these Twins in his career. But on the other hand, those numbers could be from 10 years ago because he's older than dirt. So a lot of different ways to go here. I'm just way too conflicted. So, I don't, the Mariners are another team that I just can't get a read on because they have a lot of talent, but they don't perform. And then they come out and score 19 runs and then they don't do any. It's just one of those teams that I hate to bet. So these are my 2 least favorite teams to bet. So when they're together, I'm definitely not betting.
Yeah, Twins are definitely in one of those stretches. They've lost 9 of 10. And the thing is, like, there are probably 3 or 4 games in that run where they probably should have won, definitely could have won. Bullpens choked away a couple of games. So, on one hand, they're losing close games, which is, not what good teams do, right? Bad teams find ways to lose, and they've certainly done that. But you could also say they've been right there in a lot of these games. The Red series was a great example. They could have won all 3 of them. They lost all 3. 2 of the games with the Mets, they came back to tie and then gave it up late. And then they straight up they did not play well this weekend. But I also think it was like, maybe some hangover from how the Mets series went, just didn't play well in Tampa this weekend. So I see where you're coming from there. I still think with the run head start, it's a good parlay leg. So we have reached the end of the show. Love that the 3 of us are back. Missed you last week, Brian. So we've got the the full complement back here on the panel. Hopefully we can start hitting 3-teamers again. Like I said, we made a really good run at the parlay last week. I think we turned a 9-unit deficit into a 2.54 unit plus just on last week's parlays alone. So let's keep that going here. Bryan Leonard is going White Sox plus 103. It's a full game bet. I'm going Twins plus 1.5. That's minus 140. Tokyo, Brandon, Dodgers. Is it full game or first 5? I couldn't remember.
First 5. Okay, Dodgers bullpen have been doggy doo-doo. I'm not going to trust them.
Dodgers first 5. Yep. Yamamoto on the mound, one of the best pitchers in the game. Dodgers first 5. That's minus 305. That's our 3-teamer for today. That's our show. Check out the double play package. Use it on TV and Brian until I can pick a winner, which I'm confident I'm going to do it today, though. So I don't know. Maybe you want to buy low because I did not have a good weekend, but I only went 0-3. Like, it's not like I had like just this bloodbath, but couldn't get on the right side of a timely hit to save my life. It's all good, though. We're going to get it back. Check out all that's going on the WagerTalk page. We still have 3 more days, however many days there are in April of the buy 3-day all access, get 6 days. So check that out as well. And the 3 of us will be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, for another episode of Total Bases. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow.